a conversation. So I'm going to turn to George, because if we go this route, will we have the money to continue it? And will the timeline be so great that we will lose the opportunity to maximize bringing families to East Lansing to new schools? Right now, unfortunately, our property values have dropped, and it is more affordable to buy homes in many areas. To me, that is a window of encouraging new families, and new schools are an important part of that process of where families choose to move. So I could see staggering, but when I hear, and I really did spend a good deal of time pondering about that, and yet the timeline that you're projecting is, 2 schools and then maybe 10 years to another school. Is there any other reasonable way to think that within a less than 10-year period we could at least arrive at six schools?
I'm trying to figure out 10 years because it's 2011.
Right.
The vote will be in 2012, and I thought that the earliest year we heard was potentially 2018. So
Well,
it's
that's
6. I mean, I think we're going back to Jay's question.
Right. Well,
So-
okay, but you've also used longer periods of time. So I guess I'd like to
but
see it on a chart for.
Realistically, and I'm directing this to Babs and George, you're talking 10 years, because if you're saying 2018 there's bonding capacity again, you're still talking getting a bond passed, and you're talking a period of time before the next group or the next staggered building is. So you're talking at least a decade. And I don't know, and I think Babs had a very valid question, which is when we're talking about these buildings, 2, 3 maybe on this bond, if we go this way, are we building based on our current model of schools? Are we figuring that somewhere down the line we're probably going to lose 1, maybe 2 schools, and therefore are we building these 3 schools with the capacity of, okay, let's build 2 or let's build 3, and understand that when we do that next bond, that school may have to be substantially bigger, different configuration than what we have now, because we really can't support 6 K-5 schools. It's one of those issues I'm sort of scratching my head at. I mean, there's an attractiveness to 2, I would say 3 schools at this time with a bond, but then you're leaving the bigger question out for at least a decade before it gets answered. And what do you end up doing there? I don't know.
What are we building? Mm-hmm. How big is the school? What is the reconfiguration? What are we going to do with the other buildings? What is our eventual goal? How many schools are we planning for in the future? What are we going to do with the other buildings? These are all unknowns. But it's okay. Please vote. It doesn't make sense to me. I think that I will speak for myself. I want to be liked and I want to be appreciated. Okay? But that's not going to happen. It's not going to happen because I don't really view reality as a money bully. I view him as a very formidable foe. But I do not view him as a bully. I view him as reality knocking on my door. In 4 years, I will be at Meyer, and somebody will come up to me and say, I saw you at that school board meeting, if God knows I run again. Or be elected, heaven forbid. I saw you at that school board meeting last week, Rima, and you voted to spend $320,000 on an HVAC system at White Hills? Are you crazy? What were you doing 3 years ago when you had the opportunity to rebuild our elementary structure? Was it painful? Yes. Were there people that were going to dislike you, hate you? That's already happened. Yes. But you passed on that opportunity because it was too damn hard. And now look what you're doing. You're spending $300,000 on a roof here. You're spending $75,000 on a parking lot here.
You're vastly understating the cost of either of those.
We have spent $5 million since I got on this board on not upgrades, on repairs to our elementary buildings. 5.27 whatever. And mind you, it would have been higher if those of us who didn't know about the window in time, which incidentally was presented to us at a finance committee meeting about 4.5 years ago, 5 years ago, the window in time, we would have spent probably 7 or 8 if those of us on the finance committee hadn't said, are you kidding? Do we have to do that now? I mean, how long have we put off roof repairs, Rich? Because we said, wait a minute, how stupid are we? We're gonna repair a roof that 2 years from now we're gonna tear down? I don't think I'm comfortable with that. So I'm saying that we spent the absolute minimum in that $5 million.
If I may, there was a question that was raised by a couple of different board members addressing this 10-year window. And I wanted to offer just one key concept here. The concept of this 10-year window is focused on the idea of a zero millage increase. Should the district and its voters elect to increase the debt levy that the taxpayers do pay, it could be a shorter time window. But that's what's really driving that time period, is an effort to keep the debt millage level where it is right now. So, should the board and the voters want to increase that, that is a viable option to shorten that window, but that's the trade-off.
Well, many of our constituents have said they don't want to max out their credit card, and that's what they would be maxing out as they had an increase in millage.
Understood. I just wanted to make sure that all those
that we
details were
Yeah, I knew that. I just
available
wanted to
the board.
comment that right now, we're trying to keep this at a level, predictable millage that you know that you've been paying that will not increase.
Yes,
At the rate, at least, will not increase.
Could you, before you leave, though, please just, for me who doesn't know this, could you just tell me what our millage capacity is, where we are now, and
It's
how high
currently
we're
at
able to go?
it's currently 7 mils levied for debt. And that's what the projections that Mr. Naughton has produced are based on, is maintaining a level 7 mils
Right,
for
but
debt.
what maximum are we allowed to go to? Because I'm sure there's a cap on it.
Under the school loan revolving fund, the participation maximum is a 13 mils, but to the extent that you need to levy additional mills above that to satisfy your debt service requirements, you have that authority.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Are there other questions? What is the board's wish with respect to the motion on the table?
I'd like to speak.
Yeah.
This is hard. You guys know that. Might be harder for those of us who don't appear in court or before a classroom to speak in public. And if you do know me, you know I hate it. But that's part of my duty tonight. I think I should start by saying thank you to everyone. Thank you to Dr. Chapin for taking leadership through this process. It has been an interesting, bumpy, changing information, and he's tried to stay out in front of that as best he could. Thank you to my fellow board members, because there's just a whole bunch of people trying their best to do what they think is best in a difficult situation. And thank you to the community who has engaged and brought us ideas and commentary along the way. Thank you especially to George, who's helped me begin to sharpen my thinking when I know I have to speak in public, and I mean that sincerely. So what do I think? I could support this resolution that Donna has brought forward. I could support it. But I think, this is a little off my prepared remarks because I had 2 sets and this isn't either one of them, but tonight it's my second choice. It's my second choice because the money bully is a real thing. However you describe it, we can make this decision in February. the decision that's on the table right now will still be an option for us in February. So I also think the people have asked us some very reasonable questions. Mercifully for you, this is the very short version of what I first thought I might need to say tonight. I know some of it may be taken out of context, and some of it may seem a little harsh, but I'm going to go forward with it. We sat through all these hours of public comment, and we have read every word everyone has sent to us. I'm absolutely certain that is true of everybody sitting up here, probably more than once. Most of it was polite and helpful and engaged in a very positive way. Some of it was really inappropriate.